So look, what I'm getting ready to get into is my confusion with Jason Whitlock, as well as another conservative African American voice in Candace Owens. I'm really confused by the constant attacks at LeBron James. I just recorded this. It was long as hell, and I know it needs to be shorter. So anyway, we'll get into that. Look, my name is Wood. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. If you like the way that any of the information is being presented, do me a favor, a huge favor that only takes a second. Hit the like button, or you can share the video, leave a comment. Any form of engagement would be appreciated 3,000%. So look, you know, Jason Whitlock, I don't hate everything that the man does, what he stands for, so on and so forth. I don't. I don't hate everything that Candace Owens represents. I'm grouping them together here because I see both of them now. What I'm seeing in Whitlock and his new venture, I see them kind of fighting this war, you know, and raising awareness and being leaders and kind of, you know, blacks as conservatives. Cool. No problem with that in many ways. But I don't like how they go about it necessarily. But anyway, let me jump back. So we all know Whitlock, who's been on ESPN. I think he used to do some work on he was one of the guests or the panelists on the Sports Reporters, one of my favorite shows from ESPN. You know, a staple of my Sunday morning for a good 10 or 15 years. Things happen. He was launching the Undefeated over there at ESPN. That fell apart before it even got started. He moved on to, he was doing some TV work on ESPN and then jumped over to Fox with other people who, you know, things just came to a head at the Worldwide Leader and they landed over at Fox. So he gets over there. He has Speak for Yourself. They pair him up with Marcellus Wiley, who was also at ESPN or on Sports Nation. And okay, so he does his thing over there. Anyway, his contract recently ended in the last 4 to 5 months. His contract there was up. And, you know, the funny thing is a lot of us content creators, bloggers, you know, internet journalists, internet writers and whatnot, podcasters, YouTubers, we all kind of have our discussions offline about the individuals who make great living, a great living doing this stuff, you know, professionally on some of the biggest platforms. And so the question became when the relationship fell apart between Whitlock and Fox, and the announcement was made that he'd be moving on. What the hell was he gonna do? And so, you know, some of us, we talked about him coming over to the podcast space, and some, here's another big time guy, you know, coming over to this medium that nobody cared about, or the national voices, the big boys didn't care about, but now they're all here. Okay, cool. But anyway, it seems that Whitlock has joined forces with Clay Travis. And they have this Outkick.com, a spinoff of Outkick the Coverage, which is Clay Travis's show, which I believe is still on Fox Sports Radio. And, you know, over here, you know, they're doing written pieces over, on the website. Cool. And shout out to my man, DT. This is not a rebuttal to anything. He's sent me a couple of articles lately and just brought this to my awareness. I really didn't know that this was where Whitlock landed, so to speak. Whitlock's starting to put some articles up over here, and I'm getting a sense of what his new direction is and what he intends to do with his freedom, as he puts it, in addressing, the fights and battles that he wants to take up. And, I have no problem with that. I didn't know, I never knew of him to be a Christian or heavy into, as a faithful dude. I never knew that part about him from all these years of reading and seeing him on TV and everything. I never knew that was part of his makeup. But he's talking about that now. And he's also becoming more, the discussion between liberals and conservatives is now more so, it's more overtly being dealt with him being, a conservative. And so, okay, all of that's cool. Even with Candace Owens and some of her conservative, her conservative messaging and whatnot, cool. What I don't understand is how to set their targets on LeBron James. And it's almost to the point for both of them that it's really petty in my opinion. And it's almost to the point that it's really simple that they don't understand or don't approve of LeBron James having the status that he does in his popularity, and they take shots at his intelligence or his intellect, and I don't get it, because I think when you talk about some of the tenets of conservatism, LeBron James's story represents a lot of that. Look at if you're talking about LeBron James right now in terms of conservatism and liberalism, I mean, then what would you have to say about Dwayne Wade? What would you have to say about him right now? But anyway, the latest specific example that's really got me a little pissed off and confused at why take shots at LeBron, in this new piece on Outkick.com that Whitlock has up right now. And then this is like LeBron James is kind of like collateral damage of his bigger point. But in this one paragraph, he says, at age 35, LeBron James has yet to master the art of conjugating verbs to subjects. But white liberals hail him as one of America's most important voices on race. Name me a white jock as inarticulate they would laud as an important voice on any topic, let alone a topic as complex as race. He goes on to say Colin Kaepernick's white liberal handlers won't even allow him to speak. Somehow he's analogized. I'm messing that word up. To the Louisville Lip Muhammad Ali. Yeah. So that to sit here, that's pretty harsh, man. And it's almost like, my intellectual, all my years of writing and all my years of editorialism and editorializing stuff. And then, Candace, all my speeches and my Blexit stuff and my podcast and everything that I'm doing. And I'm still not as popular as this dude who went from high school to the pros. But you disregard the fact that he assembled his team of his friends, put them in position to learn the roles that they function in as part of Team LeBron and the business of LeBron. The fact that the man is going to be a $1 billion athlete before it's all, maybe it's close now and it's a done deal, but probably will go on to own a team or be part of ownership of a team. Disregarding the fact that what he's done, this media thing that he's launched, and all the content that he's created over the last couple of years, you totally dismiss all of that. and to say that the man can basically can't speak. And I don't think that's productive. And matter of fact, I think when it gets to appealing to other black people that you would like to understand conservatism and why you favor conservatism and why liberalism is really working against your best interests and so on. When you do shit like this, it's really gonna hinder people, black people, listening to you and taking you seriously and wanting to learn more about where you're coming from. So I just think this is a missed opportunity. And am I down with everything that LeBron does? No. You know, I felt like the first couple episodes, I mentioned it when I did a review on it. I felt like, you know, he went out of his way. It felt like they went out of their way. I'm gonna speak how I want to speak. I'm gonna say what I want to say. Blah, blah, blah. And was I a fan of LeBron James jumping on the floor after Bronny's first dunk? Not really. Not really. Respect the game. And I would probably agree with Jason and maybe even Candace if they're saying that the black community, you know, you can't question a lot of popular black athletes until they do something obvious where the whole community is at their necks. But if it's little things, like if you start taking a stance against, nah, man, I wasn't in favor of LeBron being on the floor. I wasn't rocking with that. You probably get called those names, those same 4 or 5 names that they hit you with when you part ways with the herd, when you step out of line with the group, get out of step with the group. You get called those names. But no, I'm not with everything that LeBron does. But again, like I just said, if you check out, I can't remember what video that was, but him sitting with Maverick and Rich Paul and the other brother, the heavier set guy that's like his, that he was living with his senior year, junior, senior year or something. Like I said, when you take into consideration what all of those, we talk about the guys who have hanger-ons. You know, the dude that goes and I forget which basketball player, it was somebody out west, Lamar Odom. He had a guy that went and picked up a bunch of candy in the morning, and when Lamar Odom got in the vehicle, the guy had like 20 pieces of candy arranged on the passenger seat. And Lamar Odom could just eat the sweets that he wanted to eat. Nah, that's not what LeBron has done with the guys that are in his inner circle. He's truly empowered these guys to go on and do some meaningful things. And to really buck the system and change the game and so on and so forth. Do I like do I like LeBron ball and LeBron's impact on NBA franchises? Am I a fan of all of that? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if he came to my team, the Detroit Pistons, maybe I'd think more highly of it. But no, I'm not a fan of that. But again, and I understand it if they're saying, and that's the thing, I don't really know of white liberals who are really putting LeBron out there like that. I haven't seen that. Maybe I don't watch the right stuff. But the thing is, I don't know how you can argue again with the I Promise school. Like LeBron doesn't have to, he didn't go along with this Black Lives Matter thing because of the fact that the school that he has and he's set in motion and invested in and that whole situation, the feeding kids to the University of Akron, free educations, lunches, so on and so forth. Like, he's done things. He doesn't need to protest and kneel. He doesn't really need to do all of those things because he's doing things that result in real change. So again, I don't know why this is the man that you target and say and question his intelligence. He's been married to the same woman since the world came to know him. He has his, his family. No incidents. No baby mamas off to the side. No nothing. What's the problem? And it's almost like because he doesn't embrace you, because he doesn't acknowledge you, because he doesn't rock with what you're talking about, we're enemies or they're enemies. I don't see that as being beneficial. And the crazy thing is that somebody like a Whitlock, to a lesser degree, Candace Owens. But if you really knew if you really went about your business the right way, you could stress to people like, you really might need to see what I'm doing and respect what I'm doing, and lend me your ear on what I'm talking about. Because a lot of you, if you're speaking to young black men or black women, young black females, a lot of you need to listen in and see what I've done in my career and what I'm doing. Because a lot of you, the majority of you, 99.9% of you, would need to figure out things along the lines of what I'm doing versus you being able to do what LeBron James or Lamar Jackson or Dame Lillard or Julio Jones. A lot of you are going to be over here trying to make it how I've made it in your respective fields or whatever you're passionate about. But you want to take aim at a guy like LeBron James and say that you're smarter than him. And lastly, in closing, to sit here and say that it's almost as clear cut as it's like, don't listen to him, he's a dumb athlete, you should be listening to me. No, you should be getting your speech out there in a manner that appeals to people to make them listen to you. It's not let me tear him down and disparage his name so that you get with me. Just be dope at what you do. And it's almost like that's not good enough for neither one of them. They have to find a way to shortcut it and just make people choose me over him. So anyway, that's what I wish Whitlock the best. Seems like he's happy, and he'll go out here and try to do what he's doing as a part of this Outkick.com. But again, like I said, man, I really don't see the payoff in tearing down LeBron James. And this is kind of now I don't know if he's disputing the undefeated story that was out there years ago of when that fell apart. He sounded like a real ass the way he tried to put that together, and the way that he tried to lead those people that he assembled, and basically turned on him with the way he tried to lead them. So if something happened differently, I'd be interested to know that, his side of the story. But it sounded like he was on some BS for real. And again, it's like stomping on the floor talking about, why won't people accept me for being, an influential and a thought leader and so on and so forth. Why won't they do that for me? Well, just do your job and do it well and let the chips fall where they may. Anyway, my name is Wood. This went on way too long. Have a great day. Peace.